Hi, welcome to the 2025 SEPSA Winter Pool tutorial video. We're going to go over some rules. Chris is going to give examples. Here we go. Our matches are located at Lucky's Downtown at 224 South Phillips Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, on Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Winter 2025 season matches will be on January 15th and 29th, February 5th and 19th, March 5th and 19th, and April 2nd, 16th, and 30th. The championship will be held on Wednesday, May 14th. Your commissioners are me, Carl Creighton, and Chris Sorensen, who is also SEPSA president. Chris will demonstrate some of the rules we'll cover in this video. There will be 2 to 6 players per team. We recommend at least 3 players to allow for an alternate, though free agents and available team members from other teams are allowed to fill in as long as 1 player from the scheduled team is playing all their games. Teams can alternate players between games. Home teams will stay at their table the entire night to play 2 separate teams. Home teams are responsible for completing the score sheet and submitting to a commissioner at the end of the night. Home teams will break on the first game of each match, the visiting team on the second game. Home and visiting distinctions will be listed on the schedule. 8-ball is a call shot game played with a cue ball and 15 object balls numbered 1 through 15. 1 player must pocket balls of the group numbered 1 through 7 solid colors, while the other player has 9 through 15 stripes. The player pocketing their group first and then legally pocketing the 8-ball wins the game. A player's turn at the table continues as long as they legally pocket balls of their own kind and don't commit a foul. The balls are racked in a triangle at the foot of the table with the 8-ball in the center of the triangle, the first ball of the rack on the foot spot, a striped ball in one corner of the rack, and a solid ball in the other corner. Chris will now demonstrate.
So I'm going to grab the balls out, place them in the rack. I'm going to put the 1 ball on the top there. 8 goes in the center. These need to be opposite. Oops. So the big one is 1, 8-ball opposites. Put a nice squeeze on there. Replace the rack. Center. Opposite. Squeeze.
To execute a legal break, the breaker with the cue ball behind the head string must either 1 pocket a ball, or 2 drive at least 4 numbered balls to the rail. If they fail to make a legal break, it is ball in hand foul, and the incoming player has the option of 1 accepting the table in position and shooting, or 2 having the balls re-racked and having the option of shooting the opening break or allowing the offending player to re-break. This break is not legal because the cue ball didn't hit any of the numbered balls. This break is also not legal because a ball wasn't pocketed and the minimum of 4 numbered balls failed to hit a rail. This break is legal because a ball was pocketed in the side pocket. If a ball hadn't been pocketed, it would still be legal because at least 4 numbered balls had been driven to the rails. Here's an example of a legal break where a ball wasn't pocketed. Here's an example of a legal break with a scratch on the cue ball. If a player scratches on a legal break shot, all balls pocketed remain pocketed. It is a foul, the table is open. Please note, incoming player has cue ball in hand behind the head string and may not shoot an object ball that is behind the head string unless they first shoot the cue ball past the head string and cause the cue ball to come back behind the head string and hit the object ball. One go.
Oh, here's a bad break.
An 8-ball pocketed on the break is not a win. If the 8-ball is pocketed on the break, the breaker may ask for a re-rack or have the 8-ball spotted and continue shooting. If the breaker scratches while pocketing the 8-ball on the break, the incoming player has the option of a re-rack or having the 8-ball spotted and begin shooting with ball in hand behind the head string. The table is always open immediately after the break shot. When the table is open, it is legal to hit any solid or stripe or the 8-ball first in the process of pocketing the called stripe or solid. However, when the table is open and the 8-ball is the first ball contacted, no stripe or solid may be scored in favor of the shooter. The shooter loses their turn and any balls pocketed remain pocketed, and the incoming player addresses the balls with the table still open. On an open table, all illegally pocketed balls remain pocketed. Here Chris considers pocketing a solid ball but instead chooses a stripe ball. He can do this because it's an open table after the break, regardless if any balls were pocketed during the break. Chris pockets the stripe ball but also scratches. The table is still open for his opponent, who now has ball in hand. Ball in hand is the advantage given to a player when their opponent scratches or otherwise fouls, wherein the opposing player may place the cue ball anywhere on the playing surface for their turn. Cue scratch. Player puts cue ball in a pocket or off the table. Because Chris scratched on the open table on a turn after the break, Chris's opponent has ball in hand and the table is still open. His opponent pockets the solid ball without scratching, thus claiming solids for him and stripes for Chris. If any object ball is jumped off the table, it is a foul and loss of turn unless it is the 8-ball, which is a loss of game. Any jumped object balls are spotted in numerical order according to general rules for spotting balls. If 2 or more balls are knocked on the floor, they are placed in numerical order with the lowest numbered ball closest to the foot spot. Spotted balls are frozen to one another. Cue miss. Player's cue ball does not contact another ball. Cue in motion.
Okay.
Player double hits the cue ball or hits a cue ball in motion. Wrong ball. Player's cue ball makes first contact with any ball other than one of their own, i.e., opponent's ball, 8-ball.
I knew that was going to happen as soon as I hit it.
Rail contact. Player fails to contact a rail or a pocket after first contact. Note, any ball can contact a rail, including opponent's balls, the 8-ball, or the cue ball. Jump shot. Player performs a jump shot or a scoop shot. This is also a foul. Unconfirmed ball in hand. Player moves or touches the cue ball without confirming with their opponent that a foul was committed and that it was now their ball in hand. In call shot, obvious balls and pockets do not have to be indicated. It is the opponent's right to ask which ball and pocket if unsure of the shot. Bank shots and combination shots are not considered obvious, and care should be taken in calling both the object ball and the intended pocket. When calling the shot, it is never necessary to indicate details such as the number of cushions, banks, kisses, caroms, etc. Any balls pocketed on a foul remain pocketed, regardless of whether they belong to the shooter or the opponent. A slop shot. When a player's own ball is pocketed without being called or obviously intended, this is not a foul, but it is the end of the player's turn unless they also pocketed the intended shot. In this example, Chris calls the 14 ball in the corner pocket, doesn't make the 14, and pockets another of his striped balls into a side pocket accidentally. Because he didn't make the intended shot, it is the end of his turn. This is not a foul, the opponent plays where it lays. Chris does not need to call this shot because it's obvious what his intentions are. Chris should call this combination shot though. It is up to the opposing team whether or not a shot like this is obvious and should be called just to be safe. The opponent cannot question if a shot should have been called or any other foul once the next turn has been taken. When shooting at the 8-ball, a scratch or a foul is not loss of game if the 8-ball is not pocketed or jumped from the table. Incoming player has cue ball in hand. Note, a combination shot can never be used to legally pocket the 8 ball. A player loses the game if he commits any of the following infractions: a foul when pocketing the 8 ball, pockets the 8 ball on the same stroke as the last of their group of balls, jumps the 8 ball off the table at any time, pockets the 8 ball in a pocket other than the one designated, pockets the 8 ball when it is not the legal object ball. Note, all infractions must be called before another shot is taken, or else it will be deemed that no infraction occurred. Here Chris calls and legally pockets the 8 ball. Chris has won the game. This was an obvious attempt, but it's best to call all shots on the 8 ball to be safe. Wins are awarded 10 points per game automatically. Losses are awarded a point for every pocketed ball at the end of the game, for a maximum of 7 points. 7 minus balls still on the table equals score for the losing team. For example, if the losing team has 4 balls on the table, their score is 3. 7, the possible amount of balls, minus 4, which are still on the table, equals 3, which are the pocketed balls. Thank you for watching the video, and we didn't go over all the rules in this video, so read the athletic code and feel free to ask questions of your captain or the commissioners, which is me and Chris Sorensen. I'm Carl Creighton. That's it.